Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lottie and this is my September TBR. So in the month of September I am taking part in two readathons, and that is Becca's Bookoplathon hosted by Becca and the Books, and the Magical Readathon hosted by G from Book Roast. The prompts for those readathons are making up my September TBR. First of all, I'm going to run you through my Bookoplathon TBR. I've adapted the rules of Bookopoly to fit how I read, so I'm going to be doing 3 rolls plus doubles, and then I will be trying to fit the books from Bookoplathon into my Magical Readathon TBR. The way I'm going to be treating my September TBR is I have to read all of the books for Bookoplathon, and then I only have to read 2 of the books from the Magical Readathon, just because of the way those readathons work. So in order to complete the Magical Readathon you only need to read 2 books from the 7 prompts, and with Bookopathon I want to try and get through all of the books from that. If I finish all of the books for Bookoplathon, I will consider adding in another roll and doing roll as you go, depending on what my Magical Readathon TBR is looking like. So let's go through my Bookoplathon rolls. Okay, so I've got my counter here and we're just gonna go straight into it. So roll number 1, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and immediately we land on a chance card. So let's go. This is A Dance with Dragons Part 1. Yay! Oh my god. So right off the bat we get a chance card, and with the chance cards I did 10 chance cards and 10 community shelf cards, and I had 5 books that I really want to read and 5 books I don't really want to read yet. And of course we got the monster that is A Dance with Dragons Part 1. I have been reading the Song of Ice and Fire series for literally years. I tried to complete it when Catch Up Book Club hosted by Becca was reading these books, and when we got to this book I ended up falling off the bandwagon. I'd started a new year at university, so I was a bit like, I don't want to read this, and I actually ended up DNFing it. But it was only a temporary DNF and I do want to complete the series. I have both of them here, and one of my goals for 2021 was to actually finish this series because I only have 2 books left. So I will be reading this in September. Okay, and roll number 2. 7 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is Who. So the second roll we got was Who, and this prompt means read a book that you've not really heard anyone talk about. So for this prompt I'm going to be reading The Hunted by Charlie Higson. This is the 6th book in the Enemy series. This is another series that I really wanted to finish this year, and I only have 2 books left, so I am definitely going to be sticking this on my TBR so that I can make some more progress through it. The Enemy series is set in London. It's like a post-apocalyptic world where everybody over the age of 14 has turned into zombies, and by this point in the series we are all caught up with all the characters and the plot is finally actually making some progression. So I'm really excited to get to this book. The last book was really good, so I just want to see how it continues on. And finally roll number 3, unless you get a double, and it's a double, so we go in on to 4 rolls, so that's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is spooky. And for the third roll, of course, we got a double, which means that I am adding on a roll, and the prompt that we got for this one was spooky, which I'm super excited about because I can't wait for October to come around, and of course Spoopathon, which I'm super excited about. So for the prompt spooky is obviously to read a book with spooky vibes, and I am going to be choosing Empire of the Vampire by J. Kristoff for this prompt. This is my most anticipated release of the entire year. I am so excited for this book. Obviously I don't have it yet because it's not out yet. It comes out early in September, I believe. I've got it pre-ordered, I've got signed edition pre-ordered. I am going to be reading this book in September. Empire of the Vampire follows a half human, half vampire named Gabriel, I believe, and I think it's sort of just like his story. The world in Empire of the Vampire is like in constant darkness. There's basically no daylight and vampires rule, and I'm just super hyped for this book and I can't wait to read it. And hopefully the final roll 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Feed scroll. And for the final roll of Bookoplathon, I got feed scroll, which is basically to go to the social media of your choice, scroll until you see a book that you own or have access to that you haven't read yet, and read that book. Kind of awkward to do because I film on my phone, so I've got my laptop. Don't know how well you can see it, but we are just gonna scroll until I see the first book that I haven't read that I have in my possession. So we see Throne of Glass. I have read that. I do not have that book. I do not have that book. I do not have that book. Okay. Oh god, not The Rose and the Dagger. No, I didn't have that. We're not carrying that one. Okay. Is a book that I have going to show up anytime soon? Apparently not. Okay, so I don't know how well you can see that, but Eleni is reading Aurora Rising and I really want to read that book as well. Okay, so the final book on my Bookopathon TBR is Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is another book that I really have been wanting to read. The final book, Aurora's End, comes out in November, I believe, and I wanted to start reading this series in anticipation of that. Originally, I was going to just binge the series and start reading the first 2 books like a couple of weeks before Aurora's End came out, so that as soon as that came out I could start reading it. But then I thought it would be easier if I read one each month. So this is perfect that I can fit this on my September TBR so I can read Aurora Burning in October for Aurora's End in November. I'm so excited for this book. All I pretty much know about this book and this series is that it's a space opera. I think it's going to be similar in tone to the Illuminae Files, which is also by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. The main reason I wanted to read this is because I love the Illuminae Files and also I love Nevernight by Jay Kristoff, so yeah. But other than that, I don't really know what it's about. Like a space academy thing with a team of people who have sort of just been chucked together. Obviously I haven't read it yet, so I don't know exactly what it's about. And I like to go into stuff surprise, so I'm really excited I managed to squeeze this on. So I'm actually quite pleased with my Bookoplathon TBR, apart from A Dance of Dragons, but it's okay. It's fine. This is obviously what that looks like so far, minus Empire of Vampire, which is like 700 plus pages. So September is going to be a pretty heavy reading month for me. So moving on to my Magical Readathon TBR, I'm going to fit my Bookopathon books into that as much as I can. So here we have the Traveller's Key, so beautifully created by G. I'm so excited for Magical Readathon. I never participated in it before she completely rebranded it, so I'm really excited to start off with this whole new world with the Novice Path. So the prompts for the Novice Path part of the readathon are to read a book with a map, to read a book that is on the top of your TBR, read a standalone, read a book with supernatural elements, read a thriller or mystery, read a 5-star prediction, and to read a book with a school setting. The thing about Magical Readathon is the general rule is no doubling up. I'm going to try and fit a book for all 7 of these prompts, but I'm not going to push myself too hard. You only need to read 2 books to complete the readathon, so that's fine with me. So for the first prompt to read a book with a map, I am just going to be reading A Dance of Dragons Part 1. This very obviously has quite a few maps in it from the Song of Ice and Fire series, so that will be pretty easy as well. And then the second prompt to read a book that is the top of your TBR, I'm going to be using Empire of the Vampire primarily for this prompt because it is at the top of my TBR. This is the only book that I really want to read at all, so yeah, that book will be fitting for this prompt. For the next prompt to read a standalone, I'm going to be choosing This Poison Heart by Kaylin Bayron. I recently read Cinderella's Dead and absolutely loved it, so I am really excited about this one. I believe this is like a Snow White retelling, very loosely. So Briseis has a gift. She can grow an apple tree from a seed in a heartbeat and flowers bloom at her touch. And when she inherits an old house, she suddenly has the privacy to test her powers for the first time. But as Bryce starts to magic the house's rambling grounds back to life, she finds she has also inherited generations of secrets. In a hidden garden overgrown with the most deadly poisonous plants on earth, a dark legacy lies waiting for her, and Bryce's long-departed ancestors won't let her rest until she finds it. So I'm not 100% sure if it actually is like a Snow White retelling, but that's the sort of vibes I get from it just because of the whole poison thing, but I could be completely wrong. Either way, this sounds super intriguing and the cover is absolutely gorgeous. For the prompt to read a book with supernatural elements, I am going to be reading Rainbow Grey by Laura Ellen Anderson. This came out earlier this year and I was super interested in reading it because Gavin from How to Train Your Gavin features as a character in this. This is a middle grade and I joined in with the Waterstones event to promote the book when it was released, so I have this little postcard with it. It's also got a signed book plate in it, which is super cute, but also the book is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I love the rainbow sprayed edges, and there is also a cloud cat in this. So basically this book is about a girl called Ray Gray, and she lives in a world where everyone has like weather magic and she doesn't have any weather magic, and I think it's like her journey of discovering her weather magic. So obviously the supernatural elements and that would be the magic. For the prompt to read a thriller or mystery, I am going to be choosing The Hunted by Charlie Higson. This is like a horror thriller series, so that's why this book will fit that prompt. For the next prompt to read a 5-star prediction, I am selecting Aurora Rising. Already discussed this. I definitely think it's going to be a 5-star, like every other book I've read that J. Christoph has put his name down on. And for the final prompt to read a book with a school setting, I am choosing The School for Good and Evil by Simone Chinani. I picked this up earlier this year and it's also a book that I've really wanted to read for quite a long time. It's a middle grade series set at a school for good and evil. I think it follows these two characters, and like one of them looks like a goth and the other one looks like a princess, but I think the princess actually goes to the goth bit of the school, like the evil bit of the school, and the goth ends up going to the princess bit of the school. And yeah, I'm really hyped for this. I don't know what else to say about it. I just think it sounds really interesting. So the blurb says, every 4 years, 2 children are stolen away from Gavaldon, never to return. Most children fear being taken to the school for good and evil, but not Sophie. She has dreamt all her life of being a princess and believes the school could be her chance. Her best friend Agatha has other ideas, so I'm assuming that is Sophie and that is Agatha. When the 2 girls are taken, things don't quite go to Sophie's plan because sometimes the princess and the witch don't look like they do in fairy tales. So yeah, it sounds really interesting and I'm quite excited to dive into the series. So as a part of the Magical Readathon, there's also a like build your own character sheet, and there are several prompts for different parts of the build your own character sheet. I'm not focusing on that just yet. I'm not sure what kind of character I would like to create, and also I have until April to basically set in stone who my character will be. So I'm just gonna think about what kind of character I want to make, and then the prompts for those parts such as background and province and heritage, I'm going to fit in books that would fit those prompts as I go, rather than saying this book is for this at this moment in time. I'm assuming doubling up is allowed on that aspect. If you want to read a book for the novice path, that counts towards your character creation. I'm assuming that's okay. Not that anyone really cares. So this is what my September TBR is looking like at the moment, apart from obviously Empire of the Vampire. Yeah, it's quite chunky, but I'm really, really excited to get to it. I can't wait. I might get a head start and allow myself to start reading one of these books just before September actually starts, because I don't care. I'm a bit of a slow reader and I don't want to put too much pressure on myself, because then I start to get stressed and reading isn't fun anymore. But yeah, that is all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon, hopefully, with a new video. This is the first time I've done a proper like sit down and talk video in about 3 months, so we're getting there. We're getting back into the swing of things. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.